To one specific biome in North America, it's forests, specifically the western ecozone of Canada. One of the problems right now is the migration/invasion of pine beetles towards the eastern part of Canada. The invasion of pine beetles into lodgepole pine all across the country is making it difficult to sustain an environment in which the ecological balance is supported. How do pine beetles kill trees? First, a pine beetle looks for a lodgepole pine that it believes is capable of carrying its young. Then the mountain pine beetle tries to bury inside the tree, creating what is called a pitch tube. But the tree produces its protection/sap, which is called resin. What resin is, it traps the pine beetle and it basically exhausts the pine beetle until it is dead. But if the mountain pine beetle does succeed in burying down into the tree, it lays eggs under the bark. Then the beetles release pheromones and call on other pine beetles to adapt to the new environment and lay eggs. The beetles then introduce blue-stained fungus into the sapwood that prevents the tree from repelling and killing the attacking beetles with a tree pitch flow. The fungus also blocks water and nutrient transport within the tree, which straight up murders the tree. Pine beetles are killing off lodgepole pines, and since the 1990s, the pine beetles have killed around 50% of the total volume of commercial lodgepole pine in the province, which in turn is contributing to the slowing economy of the country, as we are unable to produce a sufficient amount of timber, and it's only expected to fall more dramatically as the decades come. Studies suggest that the pine beetle has cumulative present value loss of 57.3 billion in GDP, which is gross domestic product. Why are pine beetles attacking? Well, the main reason is climate change. With rising temperatures and climate change only creating milder winters and warmer summers, the survival of the pine beetles is only more guaranteed. Also, as a normal feature of their life history, adult beetles fly to new trees and colonize. The possibility of long-distance dispersal, greater than 100 kilometers, under favorable weather conditions, is well documented with tons of proof they are slowly clouding. The more trees the pine beetles kill, the more plants are dying, which is where we got our fossil fuels, and the trees are not able to decompose properly as there are no fossil fuel deposits. What is causing climate change? The first reason would be the increase in greenhouse gas emissions, which coats the Earth's atmosphere, producing heat. The more heat we have, the more likely it is for the Earth to not produce rain. And no rain likely means there will be a drought. The loss of rainfall prevents the soil, the forest to recharge groundwater. And you're probably wondering why I'm looking down right now, because fucking mosquitoes are biting me, my guy. Holy shit. And that was the Stephen Irwin Show. I shall see you tomorrow in Diving with the Stingrays, baby. Let's go.
Hello, it's Beetles here. Regeneration is the process by new tree seedlings become established after forest trees have been harvested or have been died from fire, insects, or disease. Regeneration is the key to sustainable forestry and can be accomplished through certain approaches. Natural regeneration is when sprouts are produced by trees left on near the site. Timing is important in the regeneration process. Every year that a forest is understacked with trees means a loss in time of growth. Delaying regeneration can allow brush, grass, or other underside vegetation to take over a site, making the process of establishing desired trees difficult and expensive. There are also situations where a fire burns a forest. There is still hope. In the last moment, certain trees with certaneous cones like lodgepole pine, when heated at a certain temperature, explode and release seeds, scattering them across the ground, therefore starting the cycle all over again. Is located in southwestern Saskatchewan along the Alberta-Saskatchewan border and form the Cypress Hills upland ecoregion. The Cypress Hills are unique, being the highest elevation east of Rockies and southern Canada. The only lodgepole pine forest found in Saskatchewan and at the home of an abundant varieties of orchid. There are many factors that contribute to climate change in Cypress Hills. Air emissions from pollution problems such as smog and acid rain, which results from the release of pollutants, extreme weather such as wildfire, and the sea surface temperatures rising, meaning that the sea levels will be rising. Friends, Beetles show.
Oh shit! How do we find sustainability in this current environment? The complete answer is complex, but if we had to reduce it to one word, it would be balance. The hallmark of sustainable forestry, from a purely ecological perspective, is the extent to which forestry practices mimics natural patterns of disturbance and regeneration. Sustainable forestry balances the needs of environment, wildlife, and forest communities, supporting decent incomes while conserving our forests for future generations. There are many practical steps that a community or business can take to protect the health and longevity of a forest while still profiting from the production and sale of timber and other forest products, such as oils and plants. We should also reduce our deforestation or logging activities, or at least there should be a management plan that specifies how much trees should be cut down in certain areas. There should never be a complete wipe in one area, as it basically kills off any chance of reproduction in it. We can also use reduced impact logging techniques, which are from its name reduces the impact of logging. Reduced impact techniques allow loggers to fell and extract trees in a manner that reduces damage to other trees in the stand. This approach also minimizes erosion, waste, and carbon emissions. There are many causes of natural wildfires. Drought, for example, causes continuous hot weather surrounding forests. Sparks can easily ignite dead trees that have been drained out of any moisture. When these natural fires break out and spread, it is the government agency responsible for fire management's job to decide which action to take on the basis of the priority level of the area affected. So, depending on the priority or the value of the area, they will either completely extinguish it or suppress and limit its path or leave it until it burns out. Fire management is the process of planning, preventing, and fighting fires to protect people, property, and the forest resource. It also involves fire to attain forestry, wildlife, and land use objectives. Because fire plays an important part in the rebirth of many forests, allowing for healthy plant growth to occur, it's therefore important to know which ones to blow out and which ones to burn naturally. When a forest is on fire, the fire management not only has to worry about natural factors and its effects, but they also have to think economically, how the wildfire will affect natural resources, public health, and safety, for example.
Brad,
Ako nga, leching pa yung Beetles yan,
di ako
Brad.
mahal ng nanay ko, Brad.
Oo, alam ko.
Iniwan ako ng asawa ko.
Mahal ko yung anak niya.
Hey guys,
Yo.
if the forest burns our cabins, what will happen to our property?
As we mentioned before, in the fire management segment, the action or measures taken against natural wildfires will be based on the pros and cons of the effects. When the value of the area outweighs the condition of the forest, it will most likely be controlled, or when there are too many structures making it too expensive to destroy the surrounding developed area. Areas are assigned with priorities, with their value assessed in terms of economics and their natural pros. The only scenario in which the wildlife will be left alone is when the benefit of making the forest healthy again is greater than the damage from the artificial structure / objects of the economic impact.
Brad, nakikita mo? Ayan. Wala talagang pag-asa na dito.
Ay na, Brad, ang laki ng put nila ida. How are we supposed to enjoy the full extent of our trip when we can't even start a fire? It's a camping necessity.
It is more important than just starting a fire to have a good time. If you really want to, you can use an artificial source of light for your fire. There are also multiple ways of cooking instead of using fire. So yes, the camping trip may not be complete the same, but there are many different ways to execute the basic camping necessity before starting a fire.
Groot. I am 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 Groot.